We are back. What's up, everybody? It's JJ Buckets, and you've seen the thumbnail, you've seen the title. You know we are going to talk about the three players that are going to define this upcoming NBA season for the Toronto Raptors. Now, this isn't necessarily the three best players on the team. These are, in my opinion, the three players that will potentially swing the outcome of how the season goes in terms of good to very good to really good, depending on how they look this upcoming season. Now, before I fully get into things, just make sure you are leaving a like on the video. It goes a long way and takes like a second, so please and thank you if you're doing that. And if you enjoy what you watch today, just make sure you subscribe to the channel. 38 subs, I believe it is, away from 1K, so that would be really cool. Help me hit it. And once I hit it, big shout outs. Big shout outs to everybody. Without further ado, let's hop into the video. So the first guy here I want to talk about is OG Anunoby. And naturally, with this offseason, we've seen the reports that OG wants a bigger role in the offense. And we've even seen Nick Nurse kind of talk about that and feel as though he is kind of inclined to offer OG that opportunity. So with that opportunity, I think how OG Anunoby looks this upcoming season goes a long way to how the Raptors look this upcoming season. I still do think personally that the easiest way to kind of get that accomplished is make Precious Achiuwa the starting center, obviously sliding everybody downwards from there. Pascal to the 4, Scotty to the 3, OG to the 2, and then obviously Fred stays at the 1 with Gary Trent Jr. moving to the bench to play your 6-man role. I think it kills, honestly, a lot of birds with one stone there in terms of like you help your bench with a spark plug coming off it that's gonna get buckets and get offense with Gary Trent Jr. And you give an opportunity for OG to have his bigger offensive role there. And OG is naturally somebody that has gone better every single season. Now, I do think the jumps, where the dissatisfaction I think comes in from Raptors fans, is the jumps have been hops, so to speak, as opposed to just like massive leaps and whatnot. But OG is somebody that has gone better every single season to at least some extent. Some part of his game is always better, so with anticipation of that, like, and a bigger role, OG will naturally have a huge part in how this upcoming Raptors season goes. Naturally, don't take too much from off-season workouts and stuff like that, because, you know, we've seen guys like Ben Simmons light it up in the offseason and then have his off moments when it comes to the actual season, in particular regarding his shooting. But with OG Anunoby, at least if you're watching some of these off-season workouts and some of these off-season runs, like the Rico runs and whatnot, his handle does look better. His handle does look a lot better. It looks a lot more smooth, and I think that's one of the big things for OG at this point, is polishing up that handle and creating off the dribble. If OG takes a leap in that regard, he can really take a leap regarding his overall game. And if he takes a leap regarding his overall game, the Raptors will take a leap when it comes to this upcoming season and where they are positioned in the Eastern Conference. The next guy here regarding definitive players for this upcoming season is kind of a gimme because he's your best player on your team as it currently stands. We're talking Pascal Siakam. Now, Pascal Siakam last year, I think, had a really good bounce back campaign that reminded people how good he can be. The jury, I think, is still out on whether or not he's a potential number 1 on a championship team. But again, I've talked about it before on this channel, and I'll say it again. It's okay if he's not. It is fine to be a very good number 2 in this league, but that's besides the point. Pascal Siakam, whether or not he has the kind of impactful season that he showed us he can have last year, is going to go a long way to where the Raptors eventually end up in the Eastern Conference, both in the regular season and how far they can go in the playoffs. Because, as I was saying, as it currently stands, he's your best player, and your team will only go as far sometimes as your best player can take you in certain moments. Now, naturally, the Raptors have a fantastic just team and a team environment where everybody can step up and have their moments. Obviously, guys like Trent Jr. have their big games. Fred VanVleet obviously have their big games. Pascal Siakam obviously has his big games. Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, Precious, the list goes on. You get my point. But even still, at the end of the day, you need your best player playing like your best player. And if Pascal Siakam is playing like the All-NBA caliber player that he is, that makes a big difference. And naturally with Pascal too, I still think there is a chance that there is a better version of Pascal than what we've seen to date, which is another exciting thing to potentially think about and to anticipate. So if there's still a leap for Pascal to take, and if he can still come back better than what we've seen to this point, naturally this Raptors team goes from, you know, a team that maybe nobody wants to face in like the first round, and a team that can make it to the second round, to a team that's potentially angling at an Eastern Conference Finals berth. Who knows? Maybe even a finals run. I don't think we're quite there yet, although it really depends on the last player on this list, and I will obviously get to that. But again, like where Pascal is in terms of his play, I think is really at the end of the day going to be a huge factor when it comes to where the Raptors are come season's end. So there's been a theme here talking about leaps and talking about improvement, and who is a bigger candidate for that and a bigger, I guess, point of anticipation than Scotty Barnes. Naturally, you knew Scotty Barnes is going to be on this list, and I saved the best for last, I think, in my opinion, because Scotty Barnes, I think he has a chance to be that guy in this league. I think every Raptors fan thinks that Scotty Barnes has a chance to be that guy, and my God, it is going to be so fun watching year 2 and obviously year 3, 4, 5, 6, everything after that. But the leap that can potentially happen in year 2 for Scotty Barnes, now that he has that experience in the league, and again, he's somebody that comes off as driven, motivated, and just a worker, somebody that's gonna get better. So seeing how much improvement we get from Scotty Barnes really, I think, is the most exciting thing when it comes to anticipating this upcoming Raptors season. And quite frankly, it will be the most definitive thing, in my opinion, for this upcoming Raptors season, because if Scotty Barnes comes in and all of a sudden is looking like, you know, a borderline all-star, or, you know, just an all-star, it makes such a huge difference for the Raptors. Why I was talking about Pascal and the fact that it would be okay for him, you know, to just peak out as like a really good number 2 is because, quite frankly, I think Scotty Barnes has a chance in this league to be a number 1, and a number 1 naturally on a championship team. I'm not saying it's going to happen in year 2, but I do think Scotty Barnes is the most, and his progression, is the most important thing for this upcoming season for the Raptors. I think giving him more touches and giving him a bigger role obviously goes a long way, and getting him that chance to progress into the player that, quite frankly, I think we all know he can be. It's going to be huge. It's going to be the defining factor of this upcoming Raptors season. And for those that keep up with like Twitter or anything really where like images like this circulate, there's that one photo from one of the off-season runs at the Pro-Ams and whatnot where Scotty Barnes just looks a lot bigger and stronger. Like his shoulders really look jacked up. There's been reports that he has put on about like 10 pounds of muscle, and it just, I look at that and it just screams stuff like baby Giannis to me. So I'm not saying he's coming back next season, he's gonna be Giannis, don't get me wrong, like there's a long ways to go for anything like that, but there is, I think, a really good chance for Scotty Barnes to come in next season, and I don't want to say immediately take the reins on this team, because like I've been reiterating, but I'll say it once more, I still think we're a little ways off from that, but at least potentially being that borderline all-star, maybe even being that all-star caliber player next season. If Scotty Barnes shows us that in the upcoming year, this Raptors team suddenly is one that's positioned to be in the Eastern Conference Finals, to potentially make a finals run. Again, Scotty Barnes really at this point, and every season I think going forward from here, is going to be your most important swing factor as to how good that Raptors season will be, because Scotty Barnes is your guy moving forward. So seeing how good he is going to be the most definitive aspect to this upcoming Raptors season, and I have no doubt in my mind about that. Alright, so that is the list from me. What do you folks think? Do you think there's a player on the Raptors roster that is more important to defining how this upcoming season goes than one of the 3 that I've mentioned. If there is, you know what to do naturally. Comment below, let me know your thoughts. Other than that, folks, reiterating the usual drill. If you like this video, if you're still watching, you like this video, so hit that like button, I would greatly appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here as well. Like I said, it goes a long way. The 1K march is well on its way. I say it every single video, and I will say it every single video until I hit that 1K mark. Help me get there. I would really appreciate it. So, yeah, do that for me. That'd be great. Thank you. Other than that, folks, it's been JJ Buckets. It's been real, and I will see everybody next time.